Hi everyone, welcome back. I feel like my hand does this really weird thing where it's like, woo! Hi everyone, welcome. See? Oh my God. Woo. Hi everyone and welcome back. Today we are continuing my top 5 series. So the category we're looking at is bronzers. My top 5/10 are bronzers that are most used and loved in my collection, the best of the best. I started off as 5, but then I had the honorable mentions, which is a legitimate way of saying I can't pick. The Burberry Face Contour Effortless Contouring Pen, Face and Eyes in medium 01. So this has a stick delivery and it's a cream product. And I know you're probably asking me, why are you including a contour product in a bronzer top 5? I tend to use this as a bronzer. So somewhere between a bronzer and a contour. The shade sits somewhere in the middle of warm and cool. So if I were to compare it to, say, this is just my Chanel bronzer, you can see it's deeper and cooler than a bronzer, but then if I were to get a typical cream contour, this is by Anastasia, it's warmer than the contour. So I find it's a really unique and versatile shade to kind of add some dimension and shape to the face. And the formula is stunning. It has almost a bit of a dry silicone slip, so it blends out effortlessly even if you've powdered your face. I really enjoy this on my dry skin, and I know that Sharon Farrell also loves it and she has an oilier skin type, so I don't know why more people don't talk about this. I feel like it's really underrated. Oh, my ears are gone red. Just cover that up. The Guerlain Terracotta 4 Seasons bronzers. You guys, these are really pricey. They are a pricey product, but it's just one of those makeup items that I truly treasure in my collection. They are an absolute pleasure to own and use. They have a really fabulous shade range, so shades for the very, very pale all the way to the very deep. One word of warning, when you're looking at Guerlain bronzers in store, I find that they swatch really orange, and you're kind of looking at it like, why? I promise you, when you apply them to the face, it's an entirely different story. They're just warm, golden goodness. The formula, the formula. I think that this is my all-time favorite powder formula. It is like butter and silk. It blends even when you haven't set your foundation. And I swear to you, there is some sort of blurring effect. It makes the skin look really smooth. I'm wearing Moyen Brunettes. Moyen Brunettes? This one I'm wearing around my temples, onto my cheekbone, even on my eyes. I find they work really well on the eyes. One note also about the blusher portion, you can dip your brush into that separately and it does work as a blush. I find though, they're cleverly curated in a way that if you mix that blush portion into the bronzer, it gives a really interesting nuanced effect. I don't even know if that made sense. I just love you so much. Moving on to a powder product. This is the Napoleon Matte Bronze. I actually don't own a lot of Napoleon in my collection, but I think this one is a winner. The formula I think is nice. It's nothing out of the ordinary. What sets it apart in my collection is the shade. It's just that touch bit cooler than the rest of my bronzers, and sometimes if I'm wearing a very cool lip or a very cool eye, I don't necessarily want a really rich, warm bronzer, but I want a bit of shape or a little bit of something, and I find that that's where this really comes in handy. This would be a good matte bronzer for someone who is on the paler side, and perhaps a lot of bronzers are looking quite orange and warm. Check this one out. This is a new one in my collection, but I've been using it non-stop, so I feel like it deserves a mention. The Too Faced Sweethearts Bronzer in Sweet Tea. It has 2 halves. I just swirl my brush and go happy with it. I think it was someone on Instagram said, that shade looks very pale, does it actually show up on the skin? And I totally agree. In the pan, it looks like a very soft bronzer. That's deceptive. Once it goes onto the skin, you can get very bronze very quickly, I know from experience. It does have a fine shimmer in it, so if you're looking for something entirely matte, obviously you can skip this one. I don't find the shimmer to be obnoxious in any way, not glittery. It blends really beautifully even when I haven't powdered my skin, because typically I wouldn't powder this area here, and it blends seamlessly, no patchiness whatsoever. My only minor beef with it is the packaging. It is cardboard, and the lid comes off entirely. Now this is a dangerous scenario for me because this lid, no doubt, will suddenly grow legs and it will walk straight out of my studio and I'll never see it again. And I'll just have a sad, lidless bronzer. But I'm gonna give it a pass because I really do enjoy the product inside. The last one actually isn't marketed as a bronzer, it's a powder. So I've included a contour and a powder in what's meant to be a bronzer video. Good job, Karima. Chanel Le Beige in number 50. I really enjoy the Chanel Le Beige powder formula. I think it's really smoothing and it's not a flat matte. It's more of a satin finish, which is gorgeous. I thought, why not buy a much deeper shade, and that way I can have a bronzer that has a little bit of coverage as well. And you can do that with any powder or powder foundation. Buy a deeper shade, use it as a bronzer, genius. Because this is formulated as a face powder, I find that it works really well even over tacky foundation. It doesn't start to get kind of choppy or patchy. The shade is very warm and it's quite pigmented. So I go in with a very fluffy brush and a very light hand. So this is definitely a go-to if I'm looking to add a lot of warmth to the skin and I want it to be more on the matte side. Love it. So I just want to quickly talk about some honorable mentions and also touch on a few products that I think you guys might ask about. My top 5 did skew quite high end. My all-time favorite drugstore bronzer was, the L'Oreal Glam Bronze Eau de Soleil. I stopped using it in my tutorials because a lot of you guys told me that it's impossible to find and I didn't want to tease you guys with it. It's a fluid bronzer, liquid bronzer, and again, it's got that silicone slip, so it blends really beautifully. It is quite dark. One dot does your face, your chest, and your toes. It goes a long way. Fingers crossed this one wasn't limited edition. Let me know in the comment section if you know more about that. Also, for a more affordable option, I just want to touch on the ColourPop Super Shock Cheeks. These are the bronzers. Really interesting and innovative formula. It's like a cream, but it sets very well. So very long wearing. This is the This is the shade Skinny Dip, which is definitely more for the paler people. Some of these have shimmer, some of them are matte, so keep that in mind. Highly recommend the Super Shock Cheek. Every time I struggle with that. Just want to touch on a cult product. This is the Chanel Soleil Tan de Chanel, or Bronze Universelle, if you've been around that long. Another one that has a very slippy texture. It's really beautiful to blend on the skin. I do really enjoy this one and I use it a lot. I think that this would be not well suited to someone who's pale because this would be really orange on you, and I've heard people complain about that before. Final honorable mention, my God, I can't help myself. This is the Hourglass Ambient Bronzer in Radiant Bronze Light. Okay, a lot of people in the comment section were saying, how can you love that so much? It's really glittery. And I couldn't see where they were coming from until one day I tried to apply a little bit over my nose. Oop, just hit myself in the face there. I tried to apply a little bit over my nose. So typically I just apply bronzer here and here. I don't see the shimmer in that placement. But when I dusted it across the bridge of my nose, I saw what you guys meant. If you often wear bronzer, across the central portions of your face and you're not a fan of shimmer, you can safely skip that one. I still enjoy it. Oh, my ears. Go away. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this installment of Top 5. Let me know in the comment section what you'd like to see in the next Top 5. Maybe primers. I'm kind of getting into primers recently, actually. Or maybe false lashes. I do love a bit of the old false lash. Let me know in the comment section. If you would like to maybe see a little bit more of me, you can come check out my Instagram. I love to chat to you guys there. I'm active every day. I love Instagram. So yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day and I will speak to you all very soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. I felt like that was actually Nikki. Sometimes when I do outros, I'm like, who's that? It wasn't me.